Thank you very much. Very interesting to see how the local communities plays a vital role in the hospitality industry. So we'll keep focusing in lifestyle branding, and we'll welcome the moderator for this session, Ms. Argyrou, partner in real estate, hospitality and leisure for PwC. A round of applause for her. Thank you very much.
Sorry. I actually have some work to do, that's why.
He's signing a deal.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us in what is promised to be a thought-provoking session, again on the topic of what we have been discussing until now, the lifestyle brands. In a highly competitive hospitality market, one of the dynamics that we have seen emerging more and more is that travelers are seeking more meaningful experiences. It's similar to the topic that has been discussed just right now. And also the opportunity to connect with the local community. What we also see as a response to that is that we have new hotel products that what they are trying to do is they are trying to bring elements of the local environment, attracting exactly those travelers, those that they are seeking meaningful experiences, authenticity, and a sense of emotional connection. So what we are going to be discussing today is how these products are bringing this to life. We will also try to understand how this may shape hotel operations, and also what could be the impact on the bottom line. So we are fortunate to have a panel of industry experts with us today. Let me briefly introduce them to you. Elie Milky, Vice President Development for Radisson Hotel Group for Middle East, Greece, Cyprus, and Pakistan. Welcome to the panel, Elie.
Thank you.
You have the longest title I've ever seen.
Makes me look more important.
Carlos Khneisser, Vice President Development for Hilton, Middle East and Africa.
Correct.
Very nice to have you with us. Charbel Boutros, Vice President Development for IG Hotel Group, Middle East and Africa.
Thank you.
So, I was thinking a lot about the term lifestyle brand, and I thought that between us we have been having this conversation a lot. Yeah. I want to start the panel by just asking this question, perhaps to you, Carlos, because we're just discussing that.
Yeah.
What is your definition of the term lifestyle brand?
Yeah, look, I'm sure, I mean, if you ask everybody here in the audience, everybody will give you a different definition of lifestyle. But for us, I mean, as most of our lifestyle brands, we have six lifestyle brands, and we had added two newly, which is Nomad and the Graduate. Nomad is our luxury lifestyle. So under the umbrella of lifestyle, mostly, I mean, we defined it, I mean, in three words. I mean, aspirational, bespoke design, especially on food and beverage, and connectivity. Connectivity is our connection to the local environment and the local areas. So basically, I mean, I like the word that Gaurav has just said, globally was like bringing global standards while working, designing, I mean, the hotel to locally fit within the environment, within the areas. So lifestyle hotels are not a prototypical sort of hotels. Like we have Hilton Garden Inns in Hamptons. I mean, they are prototypical type of hotels. So if you checked in a Hampton in US, in California, or in Dubai, it would be nearly the same. While lifestyle is completely different. I mean, nowadays, travelers, I mean, they want to move from one hotel to the other and experience something different. They want to experience the culture. They want to experience local flavors. Mm-hmm. And this is where, I mean, our bespoke design when it comes, I mean, to food and beverage elements. Food and beverage elements is extremely important in lifestyle brands, where it attracts, I mean, the community I mean, to come and meet and enjoy, I mean, the local flavors and the local setup. I mean,
And this creates higher visitation, right?
Within
Also
these
for your
hotels.
property.
So yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
if you look, I mean, at the revenue sharing, I mean, between rooms and food and beverage, in a lifestyle hotel could go up to 50-50, sort of. While in a normal upscale hotel, it could be, I mean, maybe 60, 70, 30, 70 rooms revenue versus 30% food and beverage. There is the element of focus in lifestyle is mostly, I mean, food and beverage and art, design, and the design mostly it is linked, I mean, to the local environment.
Okay.
Why, again, to go back, I mean, to the travelers, I mean, because most of those travelers, young travelers, they don't fancy anymore, I mean, the cookie cutter type of hotels. They want, I mean, to experience those differentiations.
Elie, for Radisson, is there a different definition of what a lifestyle brand is?
I wouldn't want to disagree with my colleagues over here. But no, I think doing this panel after Gaurav's presentation, we have to be very careful because we should learn from it and we can be easily criticized. But the definition, to add to what Carlos is saying, is more engagement with the local community. The F&B element is not just the restaurants, but it's also the events around, the meeting space and the events. For instance, encouraging local artists for art exhibitions, encouraging book launches, wellness activities, music shows, fashion shows. So the beauty of lifestyle, and again, it's, as somebody said, like Gaurav has an issue with luxury, and it's been overused and abused over the past few years. So we have to be, I would like us to use it less, but the beauty about such kind of products today is to be able to engage with the community on every aspect of life, whether it's music, arts, wellness, gastronomy, fashion. And I think that's a very, very, very important element in making an operation successful because of it creates that footfall and that story in the community.
Sharbal for IHG?
I don't think I'm left with any more comments, but no, but seriously, I think if we just, to summarize it, it can go into personalization and authenticity, the authenticity of the experiences. As we know, the shift of demography and the needs of travelers, they want this experience and authenticity. So what everyone is trying to do is to get actually the neighborhood, the story of the neighborhood, the city, within the hotel. So because, you know, the first arrival, you arrive to the airport, guest journey, you go to the hotel. So you want to start this experience through that hotel. So it boils down to these elements that we discussed. I would like to call it like the move from standardization to personalization. And there is, of course, the lifestyle brand that we call brand. And I can like to comment on this one. These brands are pretty much based on these USP, and it's in the DNA, because lifestyle brand is not a segment in itself, but it's more about a DNA of a hotel that actually have built in. And I can say that actually all the legacy brands, whether in IAG or in other brands, are shifting slowly but surely by adding these elements in our legacy brands. So we are offering these kind of things. I can name our recent development, for instance, for the Holiday in Family. Well, actually, we're starting to introduce these elements, whether the local culture or the local experiences, and we're doing in the hotel. I'm sure as well in Hilton they do the same. There's no hotel the same or brand the same. But again, we have as well our brand lifestyle brand like Kimpton and Indigo, where actually we bring an agency from the beginning. We tell the story, and we build it in our design, in our operation standard, and it pretty much boils down to everyone what's said.
So from what I understand then, the term, is it designed to target a specific market segment, or does it cut across different market segments or even price points?
Okay. It's not supposed to, it's not a segmentation game. It's a product. It's an offering. It's a real estate offering. It's a guest offering. We have it in the economy segment. We have it in the upscale segment. We have it in the upper upscale segment.
Yeah.
And I think to touch on something that Sherwood said that's really key is that all brands need to become more community-driven, lifestyle-driven, not because we want to ride the trend, but because it's also very, very feasible and for an investor. It creates more footfall, more engagement, more revenue, more. So I think, yes, so it cuts across segments, and it also now cuts across all, several brands. And I think that's the approach we should take, because we want to increase value to our investors. And a small example, that we have a lobby space at the Radisson Red in Silicon Oasis, which we turned into pickleball. And that's creating a bit more revenue in that area. So we have to apply these activities across the segments and across different brands.
And Carlos, since we are talking about financial, and it's an important element of everything we do, are there any other revenue streams that you have seen in this type of products that can generate additional, profits for such properties?
I mean, look, I mean, if we look at, I mean, this is not specifically for lifestyle brands. I mean, if you look at the procurement approach, I mean, that we do, I mean, focus on mostly sourcing our, mostly all our purchase, we prefer sourcing it locally. Especially now, I'm just met, I mean, with Atul from Food to Table, and I was asking him how many categories you have now. I mean, you're growing locally, and he said above 500. And it's mind blowing. I mean, above 500 categories that you can source locally. And, sourcing locally will help us, I mean, offsetting a lot of carbon footprints. I mean, and this is where each and every government around the globe, I mean, are working to offset carbon footprints. And this is something that we are extremely proud of, that we started this relationship with Farm to Table, with Atul, and it is growing not only with Hilton, with other operators. So these kind of elements, I mean, give a greater satisfaction to guests, because nowadays, I mean, guests are very conscious where they want to stay. They want to stay in an hotel which is sustainable, which is sourced locally, which has plastic-free type of approaches. So all these kind of elements are driving guests that are so conscious about those elements. And is it affecting, I mean, positively our bottom line, or it is actually adding up, I mean, the cost? I would say, I mean, there is an element of responsibility over here that we have, I mean, to focus on, which is, I mean, creating a sustainable environment for the future generation that they are seeking for. So,
Charbel, since we are talking about the topic of partnerships, any other examples that you have around partnerships with local communities, with local suppliers that can actually enhance what Carlos was just also mentioning?
Well, of course, you can extrapolate this to be engaged to the community. So you're going to have the local events. You might have your local artists to engage with them, and these collaboration with, whether in a supplier or will touch on sustainability, but as well it will touch on the community engagement. And the community engagement, going back to, can it increase revenue? Yes, it can increase revenue, because if there is an engagement of the local community, it's not only about the hotel guests, but as well the community itself, that these can add some revenue generating opportunity in the future. I mean, the possibilities are endless.
So nowadays, I mean, just to add on top of this, I mean, when you talk about, I mean, a global brand in a city like Al-Ahsa, for example, which is maybe not a lot of people had heard of. I mean, it's where we're doing, I mean, a curio collection, 2 curio collection. One is focused on eco, the other one is focused on adventure, and this is mostly focused on that all the farms that's around, I mean, those resorts. So where is the added value here for owners by associating themselves in a global brand? Associating yourself in a global brand gives you access, I mean, to for example, I mean, 200 million members, I mean, under the Hilton brand. Gives you, I mean, the power of the engines that we have under Hilton, for example. While at the same time, I mean, all the guests that you are bringing, I mean, from all around the world, they will experience, I mean, those farms that are around the resort, the local element, the Saudi, for example, type of food that we are offering in these resorts. We have one over here that is up and running in Al Seef Heritage Village. It's a curio collection. It is designed as all the UAE houses. Even if you look inside, the items that we had used in the interior design, very meticulous. When it comes, I mean, to switches, we use the old switches. We use timber ceilings and what have you. When you come over, I mean, to the reception, you're greeted with bahur and with karkadeh and all these kind of stuff. So it gives you, I mean, extremely a feeling of that you're in UAE, for example. Mm-hmm. And these kind of elements, would it translate into profitability? There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. It does, because this is the trend that I believe it's going through.
Alas, local dates.
Local dates.
Yeah. But by the way, to that point, if everyone has been to Ha'il in northern Saudi Arabia, I went to see a project that we've signed a hotel. The owners took me to their olive oil press. And I was like, there's olive oil here? Yeah, we imported most of the trees from Spain and Italy. Can I taste it? I tasted it. It was fantastic. We wouldn't expect olive oil production in Saudi Arabia. But when we open, we're going to be selling local olive oil. We're not going to be importing Italian olive oil. So it's a very nice touch. It's cost effective. It helps the local businesses, and it adds a very, very unique touch to the hotel.
Mm-hmm. Shall we talk a bit about people? Because we are in a people industry.
Absolutely.
And you may have designed a hotel that actually has local elements, but then if you don't have the right trained people or the right staff to actually be able to pass this experience, it's a different story. Whoever wants to talk about it, Carlos. And I'm talking mainly about the training of the staff that work in this type of properties. Is this a different type of training? Or even local staff? I mean, is the focus of actually hiring local staff for this type of properties?
Yeah, I mean, look, our expansion mostly is in Saudi Arabia, UAE, Morocco, etc. But if you look at Saudi Arabia nowadays, we are nearly more than 100 hotels trading plus pipeline. So, and with the expansion in the region, we would need more or less, 25,000 employees. So 25,000 employees in the coming years. We have a lot of associations with universities, with colleges, locally, that have international link with Lausanne, with Swiss schools. And we work very close to them, to make sure that we have local employees are trained, local individuals are trained and made aware about hospitality, because there's not a lot of awareness about hospitality, and this is our job and duty, to do that. And we are proudly, I can say in Saudi Arabia, of the largest, percentage of Saudization in our hotels. Mm-hmm. And especially, and if you look at UAE, we have association with DCT, Dubai College for Tourism, and we do this similar aspect. And we have quite a significant, a good amount of Emiratis. We're seeing them entering into our hotel, working in the front office, working food and beverage, working at our corporate office. So we're seeing the awareness of hospitality is gaining, traction day by day.
Mm-hmm. Shadol, from your point?
To add on this, to focus more on the lifestyle aspects, before going to training, I think sourcing the staff as well is a very key element. And here, to acquire the right talent, it should start here, and to mix between the local employee and the foreign employee in our industry, especially in this region. However, I can add to what Carlos said as well, that one of the focus in these trainings will be to focus on introducing the staff to the local culture, for them to understand the local culture, because by doing that, they can actually interface with the guests, and then they can relate these local culture and they can relate what are the events, what's happening in the neighborhood. They can tell you where you can go, what to do, and these kind of things. And these add to these unique experiences. This is what our guests are waiting. And these trainings, you have to put it on top of your normal training that you do. Just know the culture and know actually your neighborhood. And these are important. And automatically, you will have immediately a unique experience by understanding all these.
Mm-hmm. I have a question for you, Elie. We talk about incorporating the local element and the local culture and the community in the product and so on. How do you manage to do it without making it feel too commercialized? How do you retain the authenticity? Is it the size of the property that makes a difference for this type of brands? Can you do that successfully in a large property?
I don't think so. I think if you want to do it right, if you want it to be a community hotel, you cannot be running a convention hotel. Mm-hmm. So the short answer is no, it has to be smaller. It doesn't need to be boutique. It has to be small enough to have that personalization, that authenticity, large enough to be economically viable for the owner. Mm-hmm. So yes, otherwise you'd be running a monster and it will not make any sense. Mm.
Carlos, you also mentioned that you have different type of products in this category. Do you also have certain specs around size of the property?
Yeah, of course. I mean, as we mentioned previously, like lifestyles are just categories. So we have mid-scale, we have upper upscale, we have a luxury lifestyle. Those are price points. I mean, to allow, guests to utilize. I mean, if a guest they are on a budget. For example, they're cost conscious, let's call it. I mean, they can utilize maybe the lifestyle element for the mid-scale that we have. We have a motto, for example, that fits into this element. But to go back, to what you just asked, Elie, we should, as an operator, this is what we do best. To manage the hotel as it should be. And we have 100 years of experience in doing so. So we want to make sure that what we propose, to a location, it should be, the best fit. And when it comes, and not only the best fit from the brand itself, but also from the food and beverage element. Nowadays, we had incorporated under our development team a food and beverage specialist that focus on bringing, international brands, known brands. Like Argyrou, was just mentioning. It's all about brands nowadays. So you want to make sure that we have more than 400 partners on a global level. We bring them over, to those, and we suggest which one fit best, in each location, in each property. And this is where, it should be, and it will be, commercially viable for those owners. This is our job, as owners, to make sure that when we put this package together, from a brand perspective, food and beverage perspective, it makes, commercial viability for the ownership.
Can I add to that point? That's a very important point, because if we want this to be a successful operation from every aspect, partnering with an F&B expert, F&B company, or F&B concept would create a destination within the hotel as well. So sometimes it's best to give it to somebody who does it better. And these F&B collaborations are actually cornerstone of our strategy when it comes to building hotels and operating hotels. So we don't insist on running an outlet. We want to make sure that we get experts to do a better job, and they will do a better job to create a destination.
And you will expect that these may be even more prominent in lifestyle. What
Exactly.
we call lifestyle brands.
So they will add value to the entire property, a good fit. They will create that traction, that footfall, that destination, while we focus on the room element, on the other elements of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. I want to bring it back to the travelers and the future trends and so on. So, Charbel, a question for you. How do you see the change in demographics of now the millennials and the Gen Z influencing what we see around lifestyle brands?
The change of generation and the trend as well, how we it did its evolution. I like to say traveling used to be to discover, today is to experience. And between to discover and to experience, it just opened up a whole door, which is, it's all about authenticity. It's the need to be part of where you're going. I mean, and this existed for long term. We always say it's new, but it existed. I'm sure that everyone, heard this say, when you're in Rome, do as Romans do. And this is actually, I just Googled it yesterday. It's actually from the 4th century. So this is, it existed for a long time. So you have to integrate in these experiences. And the millennial and Gen Z, they wanted these experiences. And if you think about it, it was pretty much limited for the luxury segments. So in a way, the experience itself is something of a luxury. It's something that is actually, that you cannot tag a price on it, because you cannot put a value. And that what the new generation wants. That it's all about experience and authenticity.
I think nowadays, I mean, new generation or any generation, I mean, whenever they enter the hotel, you want to make sure, I mean, that I have a 4 years old. I mean, the moment he enters an hotel, he asks, what's the password for your Wi-Fi? So everything, I mean, is now about technology. I mean, you enter the room, you want to link directly to your Netflix. Like, for example, our app, I mean, allows you to open, I mean, your door, to unlock your door with your smartphone. I mean, technology is nowadays, I mean, taking a good step into our hospitality business. And this is something that we have to focus on and make sure that it is relevant.
I'm cautious of time and that we need to be wrapping up. So a last question for all of you. What trends do you see emerging around the local, offering local experience, and especially in the luxury and the mid-scale market? Anything else that we have missed that we can close with? Elie, where do you see that going?
I mean, UAE government are focusing.
He saved me, thank you. I need a few more seconds, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, Carlos, go ahead.
I'm helping you. No, I mean, the trend, I mean, in UAE government is focusing, again, on lifestyle. And lifestyle is generic, and each one of us, I mean, here gave his own opinion about it. But the focus is about lifestyle, because it is linked more, I mean, to the communities, linked to the authenticity of the countries, and maybe drive local individuals to start maybe working more into the hospitality or the hotels that we are developing in Saudi Arabia, in UAE, and Qatar, and elsewhere. So I think this is the trend right now in the.
So it's here to stay.
In the Middle East, yeah, I think so.
It's here to stay.
Yeah.
Elie?
I think art is a very new trend. Is not new, but it's becoming a trend as an element in the design phase and in the operation, because that encourages local artists and artifacts and local culture and heritage. And I think this is there to stay. And I think art will be the new lifestyle word in the next few years.
Interesting. Sharbel, from your side?
I mean, I can, investing in a hotel, although that it's a pure investment, but sometimes with owners, and a lot of owners, it becomes a bit emotional. They need to feel that attachment, and the lifestyle component add to that dimension, because the owner is enabled to actually put these touches, the local touches, the thing that he can associate with. And this is a great opportunity, and he sees uniqueness in his hotel versus that it's a just copy-paste of any other hotel. And that is we're going to see this trend going across segment, not only in the luxury, but it's going to go more and more across segment. And this is why you can see owners like this lifestyle concept.
Well, I know that we are right on time. I don't know if we have time if there are any questions from the audience. I just noticed that we also have.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. A round of applause for our
Thank you.
panelists.